So here's a ruin of an old farmhouse. I forgot to film that last time. Well, I actually filmed it, but I forgot to push the record button. So I filmed it now and I went there by bicycle and it was an 8 kilometer trip. So now it's time for a speedy bicycle sequence. Let's do that first. So first I'm cycling here alongside the A1 motorway. And this is in the direction of Oldenzaal, and I'm speeding up now, and next we're closing into the railway, and after the railroad crossing we have the Oosterveld estate on the right side, and well, from there on it's just not that far away anymore. Then we're getting pretty close. Here's the Oosterveld estate on the right. Now we're speeding up again. There's the Veldweg, which is an extension of the part where I made my last video. And now we reaching our destination, the Sniedersveldweg, and this one is crossing the Veldweg. So gradually I'm speeding up like a train, essentially. There's some horses. And now we reach the intersection with the Veldweg. It's on both the left and on the right. If you go to the left, you reach the part with the bunkers alongside the fence of the Airforcebase. And this is the bit I had to walk Monday. And it was a really long hike if you have to walk this. And I already had quite a lot of pain on my feet because it was such a long way of hiking. So we're speeding up again. I'm going as fast as a bullet train now. Now we are closing into our destination, and on the right side is the forest of the Oosterveld estate. Getting pretty close now. Any minute now, we're almost there. You have reached your destination. So, here we are at the old farmhouse ruin that I tried to film Monday, but I forgot to push the record button. So we're going to do a retake now, and now I'm holding the camera with a tripod. So first let's have a little look around. There's the front of the house. In the previous video I already had some photos of it, so I hope the tripod makes the image a little more stable, because the GoPro can be very shaky. Right over there is the Oosterveld estate. It's basically the border of it, and in the summer this is a cornfield where they grow corn for the cows. No, not consumption corn, but just feedstock for the cows. So let's approach the house. It's very tucked away. In the summer you are pretty much unable to spot this ruin, because then it's completely covered with trees and leaves and etc. But in the winter, when there's almost no trees, you can quite easily spot it. So I'm not going to go there because there's barbed wire, but we can go around the back.
First thing you'll notice is a
old concrete well. Well, it's not a wishing well or anything like that, but just a, you know, an old round concrete tubular thing. Right over there is the fence of the airbase, and this is the house, which is well, pretty much destroyed. I don't know if this thing was destroyed in World War II or whether it's a post-war thing that this is such a ruin. But the house is actually a lot younger than you would think, because it has cavity walls, as you can see there. So it must have been built in, well, at least the 1920s or 1930s. It's certainly not any older than that, because cavity walls were introduced somewhere around the late 20s, early 1930s, and that was a fireplace. I think this must have been the kitchen, and here are parts of the chimney, and this was probably the living room, with the living room chimney, and all those metal pipes is probably central heating. So I think this house actually had central heating, and those pockets there in the wall is where the joists for the floor used to be, and you also see them there in the lower part of the wall, because this house obviously had a crawling space and a timber floor. Basically we're just standing in the crawl space, more or less. And well, there's practically only one wall remaining, and if you look at the top you can see that the top part doesn't even have a cavity and it's just a single brick. Also a very noticeable thing is that it has concrete lintels. So well, it's definitely a lot younger than you think. And this is a part of interior wall with a bit of a window frame still attached to it. And yes, we're actually standing in the crawl space. Let's see if we can go through the door. You see a part of the inner wall where part of the outer wall is missing. And well, that's the masonry, and this is the front facade, which is very unstable, by the way. So be careful if you approach ruins like this. The structure can be very unstable, and here you have another good detail of the wall cavity. So I wonder if this house has been destroyed in a fire or not, because I can't see any evidence of burn marks or anything. It doesn't look like it has been burnt. Maybe it just well, was abandoned and it just deteriorated, because in the 1960s the Air Force Base expanded their base, and well, this house was probably abandoned around that time. So it's quite possible that this ruin has been like this for like 50 years or so. I'm not sure, but it certainly looks like it has been abandoned for a very long time. Well, this is parts of chimney, and all that noises you're hearing is fireworks, because it's 30th of December. So it's Old Year's Day tomorrow, and people will be firing a lot of fireworks, which I totally hate. And this is the back area of the house. You can even see some electrical outlets, and well, this tree is basically leaning on that wall, so that's well, a bit unstable, I'm afraid. And there's still some wall tiles. Oh, it looks like there have been people here before though. And this is all piping from the central heating, I presume. In the summer you have to be careful here, because there are poisonous giant hogweed plants growing here. But well, in the winter you can't see them. So let's have a look around the back of the house. There you can see a few more details. And really strange that rear part doesn't have a cavity wall. That's just a solid brick wall that's about 22 centimeters thick. That was obviously not the living area. And here you see a piece of a lintel and some sort of weird opening. I think that has been some kind of pit. I'm not sure what it is what it actually is, but here you can also see that the top part just is a single brick wall without any cavity. So only the living area would have had a cavity wall. And of course there's no cavity insulation. In the 1920s they thought that was good enough. And here's a piece of metal, and it's just, well, I think this may have been part of the chimney, but it looks like two UMP profiles. I think it's a UMP 100 section welded together with some kind of anchor strip attached to it. So here's another part of the interior view. Let's see if we can step through the bushes a bit and get to the other side. Oh, this may actually be a bit difficult. I have to step over this. So, I managed to step over there, and as you can see, the window frames, there are metal frames, and well, they're kind of bended, and they even have that really weird putty in there. You know, windows were fixed with some sort of putty. I don't know how you really call it in English, but it's that white stuff somewhere there, and that was used to attach the glazing. It's very old school. That stuff has a really weird smell when it's been freshly applied somewhere. Well, I can't get any closer to it because the tree is standing in the way. So, and there's also some kind of hole. Presumably that's could have been a basement or a cellar. I don't know. Well, I think this must have been the toilet or something. I think this is actually a concrete floor that we're standing on. So it's quite possible that there's a basement underneath here. And well, that's the lintel with some pockets for the joists. Oh, that's a piece of my tripod falling out. This tripod is not that great anymore. So I'll have to hold it. And you know what? I just keep it like this. So that's the lintel. Looks like they've really just put some concrete between the bricks. And here's a nice detail of the wall cavity. As you see, the cavity is only about 5 centimeters at most. So now let's head back. And there's the wishing well again. It looks like there's a bit of a crack in the concrete. If you look at this part here is cracked. Oh hey, since now I have this rod, maybe I could actually poke at stuff and point at things. Maybe if I can step over that tree. And there's a bit of a roof tile. But this stuff here, this is very interesting stuff. This is caulking, and they use that to attach the windows. When it's been freshly applied, this stuff is very soft and it becomes really brittle when it ages. And well, this is just a very typical metal window frame with, well, putty or caulking in it. I don't know what it is. It's really strange stuff. So now we're heading back. Oops. So that was a view of the house. So now we're going back, and I'll keep babbling with the house in the distance. So I went here by bicycle. 2 days ago I filmed other parts in this area, but I also came here, but I forgot to hit the bloody record button. Yeah, that GoPro is not always user friendly, and well, I had disabled the blinking LED light in order to film a little more discreetly, but now I have actually re-enabled the LED. So let's see if we can see a few more things. Anyway, that was it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.